Hello, and welcome to Thursday's Coffee with Coach Allan. I hope you're doing well today. This is Thursday, November 21st. Today's topic is going to be another myth. If you This week I dropped the podcast episode with 9 of these myths. So we've already this week talked about 2 of them. This is going to be the third one. This will be the last one I'll talk about on the coffee because these are the 3 that I think come up the most and mean the most as people look at the different myths that we face when we're talking about weight loss. And this myth is about discipline. Okay. So when we talk about discipline, I think it's important to begin to define words because that's become a kind of a thing, if you will, that I'm seeing over and over and over is kind of a misuse of words. We use words in ways that they weren't intended to be used. So the term discipline, if you actually look it up in the dictionary, it means to punish. And so people who have used the term discipline have typically meant that this is a person who can take punishment. They do the hard thing. They're punished. And I don't think that's necessary for weight loss. I really don't. And if you do, that's great. You can punish yourself all you want to, but it's not necessary to lose weight. When most people use the term discipline, what they really mean is motivation. And the reason that people don't like the word motivation is that they struggle to keep motivation. And so when people are struggling to keep motivation and other people are keeping it, it's easier to kind of draw a line and just say some people are disciplined and some people are not. And that's not true. Discipline comes from motivation, at least the way they define it, meaning someone who just does the thing. Typically, those folks miss out on the fact that they did at one time lack that motivation. They lacked that thing, that discipline that they now have. And they don't remember that because for most of them, it happened so long ago, they never really ever felt like they didn't have it. But there was a period of time they did not. So let me explain. Okay. Motivation comes in 2 forms. Okay. The first form is accountability. Accountability is a very, very important word because accountability is how most of us will get motivation to start. Okay, so motivation doesn't just show up. It's not some magic force. We have to earn motivation. And we earn motivation first, usually first, by bringing in accountability. Now, that accountability can come at a leader level, meaning you hire a coach, and your coach holds you accountable. That's a very easy and quick way to have the accountability that you need to move forward. Or you can join a group. Okay, this could be a water aerobics group. This could be a running group. This could be a group that gets together and cooks together and talks about healthy eating. It can be people around you, any people around you. They're going to help hold you accountable to the things you say you're going to do. Okay, accountability is important because it's an easy way to get started, but it's not the best way to keep going. So to keep going, we now have to move over into the area called self-efficacy. Now, self-efficacy is where the magic happens. This is where you start to bring all that in and make that now an intrinsic part of you. Accountability is external, extrinsic. Self-management through self-efficacy is internal, intrinsic. It's much more powerful. Now, there are also 2 layers of self-efficacy. The first layer, the leader layer, is where you become the CEO of yourself. This is where you start making it easier to do the things that you want to do. So if you say, I'm going to eat healthy meals each week, one of the things you may choose to do is do batch cooking on the weekends. You do your shopping, you do your batch cooking, you now have healthy meals for the whole week. That just made it easier for you to do the things you wanted to do. You may go through your pantry and clear out all the foods that you don't want to have around, and that makes it easier for you to comply because you have friction between you and those snacks. You'd have to leave the house to go get those things. Most people will not do that. So by putting in different processes and things in place, you make it easier to do the things you want to do and harder to do the things you don't want to do. That's self-management. Over time, doing these things over and over and over again, you begin to develop habits. Habits and values begin to then drive your identity. An easy way to think of this is someone starts walking with a friend. They start working on adding a little bit of jogs to the runs. There's a fence post, there's a stop sign. Eventually, the jogs become more than the walks, and they decide to sign up for a 5K together. You do the 5K, you now consider yourself a runner. And what do runners do? Runners run. So it's not a big deal for you to get up in the morning and go for a run. It's just what you do. That's identity. That's self-management. That's self-efficacy. So someone who has that in place today and has pretty much always had it their whole lives, they may define that as discipline. What they don't remember is being 14 years old the first time they walked into a gym, having the accountability of their buddies, having someone there mentoring them and coaching them, and then over time developing the habits of lifting, of being fit, of eating certain ways, of acting certain ways. And as the result, they've developed those habits and that identity over the course of their life. And the idea of not doing those things just isn't there. They may refer to that as discipline, but all they really did was exactly the process I'm discussing here. They just did it back then. So you do not lack discipline. You just haven't put the things in place to ensure that you have the motivation that you need to be successful. So if you need it, bring in some accountability, hire a coach, join groups, get the right people around you so that you have the right accountability to do the things you need to do, and then begin to work on the self-efficacy, the self-management, and then building the identity through habits and values. If you'll do those things, you'll have all the motivation you need, and then you'll understand that discipline wasn't the right word. So with that, I'll say have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.